Yeah, but she signed in the comments. But remember, we talked about the signing. Signed in. We can do it either. Everybody ready? I want to welcome everybody to the August 1st, 2017 meeting. It is 6:01. I call this meeting to order. This time we're looking for approval of the agenda. We've got two things on the agenda that's have been deleted. Number one on new business, award bid for wet well, and number three on new business, award bid for internal and external cameras. Both of those will be deleted off the agenda, so you can take those off. With that said, if there's no comment, we need approval of the agenda. So moved, John. Got approval. Got a second? Second. Any discussion? If none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Tonight, our invocation of pledge is by our very own Michael Woodard, Assistant Jones County Parks and Recreation Director.
Good evening, gentlemen. Well, good evening.
Thank you very much.
Let's close our eyes and bow our heads. Father, we come before your throne with thanksgiving. We thank you, Father God, that we're able to come before your throne and look to you for wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Lord, I know that every one of us have our own agenda in life, and some of us have our own agenda here tonight. But Lord, the Bible says there is a way known unto man, but God brings those plans to fruition. So Lord, whatever is our personal agenda, for whatever reason why we're here tonight, for whatever reason we're going to discuss on the agenda, we're going to lay it all before you and ask you to take all that, put it together, make it come out, and let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Because I know, Lord, we all have our own will, but let us submit our will unto your will, so your will will be done, so that everything will be done to your glory and honor. We'll give you the praise and glory for it, and everyone say, Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, John.
Tonight we'll be starting off planning and zoning. Nicholas Cameron. He's requesting conditional use to allow a trade shop for landscaping business. Property is located at 465 Highway 49, consists of 3.89 plus or minus acres. Currently zoned Z2, general commercial. Mr. Crosby.
Mr. Chairman, a trade shop, which is what Mr. Cameron qualifies under, electrical contractor, that kind of operation, or landscaping business, to locate in the C2 district requires a conditional use. There was an existing septic tank company on this property, but that's a different type of trade shop. So with the change in the type of trade shop, a conditional use approval would be required by this body. The Planning Commission has recommended approval of this request.
Is there any questions, Ms. Petrowski? All right, well, as basic zoning, is anybody opposed to this zoning in the audience at this time? No one opposed? Mr. Cameron, would you like to come up and say anything? Or?
Yes, sir. I'm operating from my house now, and it's just gotten to be too big for my house, and I want to move it to 49, and I'm going to enhance the building, redo the whole thing. I want to put a parking lot in the back, park all my equipment in the back, landscape and stuff. You know, if anybody's got any issues with it, I'd love to address them.
Any questions, Mr. Cameron? No questions. I would think a landscape company would want to have a pretty landscape in the front to sell it.
Yes.
sell his wares. So I don't yes, think you're going to be moving in.
All right. Well, thank you.
Hey, thank you very much.
Chairman, glad to see businesses thriving and expanding in Jones County. And with that, I make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion approved. We have a second. Delon, second. I don't have a motion second. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. We got item B, Bonnie Farley requests a variance to allow an additional lot on substandard private road. Property is located at 190 Gordon Road and consists of 2.303 plus or minus acre. Or is the current zoning on it, Mr. Potowski?
Mr. Chairman, if I say anything incorrectly, if Ms. Farley would correct what I say, I'm going to relate it as best I understand. Ms. Farley and two of her siblings own a piece of property that is located directly behind her home. It's approximately 3 acres in size. Each of the siblings wants a portion of that property. Some are going to combine it with their land. Some are going to use it to develop later on. Ms. Farley would like to create a parcel using part of that 1 acre and part of her own property to create a home site for her son. If the request is approved as submitted, it will take the current private road from 4 lots to 6 lots. Because this is a variance, there is not a recommendation from the Planning Commission or the Planning and Zoning Board or staff. And also, the existing private road is in fair condition.
Okay. Again, we'll ask, is anybody opposed to this zoning variance request in the audience at this time? Would Ms. Farley like to come forward and say anything?
Good evening. Yes, as Mr. Tim stated, that's what we're wanting to do. Right behind, when the acreage behind my house is divided among my siblings, and I must say we all live there now presently anyway. All 3 of us have homes there, but we also have an additional 3 acres sitting behind mine and part of my mother's. So I was just wanting to put my son, my adult grown son's wife, kid, they wanted to put a dwelling behind mine. So I was wanting to have my acre that's behind me pulled into my 2 acres so that we can go ahead and put them a home behind mine.
Sure. Is there any questions for Ms. Farley? No questions. That will entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion to approve. Second. No discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Moving on to our consent agenda, approval for minutes of work session of July 18th, 2017, 3 p.m. Third Tuesday, July 18th, 2017. Executive session, July 18th, 2017. We also had a work session on July 24th, 2017 at 3 p.m. Call meeting at July 26th, 2017 at 6 p.m. And an executive session on July 26th, 2017 at 6:03 p.m. We need a motion at this time for approval.
That's a lot of meetings.
We've been busy. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second. No discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. We'll go ahead and move on to new business. Mr. Martin, we'll pick up your guest a little later on. We're skipping one. Ms. Tiffany, we got demolition of 2 homes you want to speak about?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Come before you, I just have a small request. There's 2 homes that I would like to demolish with the remaining money that I have in my budget for this year. One is at 122 Etheridge Road, the Green Mobile Home.
All right.
Quote was $4,800, and then I have one at 147 Riverbend Drive, which is in Mr. Kitchen's district, for $4,200. I'm waiting on Miss Kathy to get back with me from Mr. Childs' office for deed clearance, and my contractor's ready to go upon approval.
It's looking like it's going to be fine. We got one more little thing we got to check out, but subject to that, if the board wants to go ahead with that, you can do it without contingency.
Sure. Any questions for Ms. Tiffany?
Yes, sir.
If none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
If no more discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving down to 4, letter of support, College Career Academy. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you all?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
Laura Rackley, CTA Director for Jones County Schools and CEO for the Future College and Career Academy. Do all of you have a copy of the cover letter guidance and the commitment checklist? Mm-hmm. Okay, I've got the cover letter guidance that comes with that too.
Can I have your name again?
Laura Rackley.
Right.
Rackley, Rackley. Yes, ma'am. And I know many of you have heard from me already about what the College and Career Academy is, but just to sort of give a brief overview for those who have not, College and Career Academy differs from a traditional high school or CTAE program within a high school in the fact of it's to stimulate economic development and to prepare students for a global workforce. That'll be accomplished through strong business partnerships, things like providing job shadowing, field trip opportunities, teacher externships, work-based learning sites, these types of things. And so we are applying for the Lieutenant Governor's College and Career Academy grant. It's a $3.1 million grant if awarded, and we fully intend for it to be awarded. But the project is set to move forward even if not, because that's what we feel is best for the students of Jones County. One of the components of that grant application is letters of commitment from local businesses and individuals in terms of what they pledge to really make more tangible the support for the College and Career Academy. So we are asking this body, and both individually and professionally, to draft a letter of support for the College and Career Academy. And I mentioned some of the ways that you can support it already with job shadowing and those types of things, but also things like coming in to present awards or judging competitions or mock interviews, things like that some of you have participated in already, I know, but just to formally request that, just want to put this before you and ask, and also allow you to ask me any questions that you may have about the upcoming academy.
Any questions from Ms. Rackley at this time? Start with Ms. Martin.
No, sir.
Ms. Robinson.
No.
Ms. Fenton.
No questions.
No questions.
Good. I hope that means everybody's already familiar with it.
We're familiar with it, right?
Familiar with it. Well, we need to have a motion on the floor for support of this.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, no discussion. Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Number 5, all terrain vehicles. Commissioner Robinson, this was your agenda item you want to speak of?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My number one priority is the safety of our county employees, and the water department uses an all-terrain vehicle, I believe it's called a Gator, to facilitate reading meters, and I've seen it in some places where it may have been legal, but I wouldn't have wanted to be in it. And I'm sure it makes things a lot easier, reading meters and so forth, but I'd really like for our county attorney to let us know what is legal and what is not, and where it's legal and where it's not, so that we've got a good idea of that it's being used correctly, if we should be using it at all. So I'd like to make a motion that we ask our county attorney to look into that.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Robinson mentioned that to me several days ago. One day last week, he told me he'd been concerned about it when he had seen the Gator, and I did look into it. I looked at the statutes on it, and I talked to Sheriff Reese, and he said as those Gators come out of the production line when they're sold in retail shops, as they come out of production, they are not street legal, which means they're not legal on state or county roads or highways. He said he thought they would be fine in a neighborhood, as you talked about, Commissioner, but they have to have lights, they have to have blinkers, they have to have headlights, some type of thing on top, I think, is also required, like an orange light, flashing light. So the answer would be they are not, unless they're modified from the way they come out of the factory, they're not street legal. Is Jeffrey here from the water department? Yeah, okay, didn't see you sitting there, Jeffrey. So that's something, I don't know if what we have has been modified in any way at all.
What they did to it, about a year ago, they put a top on it, and they put the Jones County Water Department decals and blinking LED lights in the back. And of course it came with headlights on it. But outside of that, that's
no blinkers, as far as you know.
No blinkers.
What I would suggest is that you get with the sheriff or somebody in his department who is familiar with this, and let them come look at it, tell you what they think about it, and whether it would be legal. And again, as Commissioner Robinson said, whether it's safe is a whole nother thing. But I think as far as whether it's legal on the county roads and state highways, that'd be something the sheriff could take.
So you're basically wanting us to use it more in just like neighborhoods instead of major thoroughways.
Well, so that's not for me to say. I'm just telling you from a legal standpoint, it'd be up to the board, I think, as far as, you know, with input from you and your department is what you where you consider it to be safe for use.
And for the benefit of the people that are here and the people that are at home, how do you currently use it?
Well, generally, what they did, they put it on a trailer, and especially as you're going down Light Tire, which is farther away from the office, and they'll park it at a central location, then you'll generally ride it alongside the road and into the neighborhood. So it is, they do it on a convenience. When I used to be the meter reader, I had a little pickup truck and just use that. So I mean, we'll work with however the board decides to do.
Because I've seen it in use in Corsica's where he's on my side of the county. I almost like the Gator better because he's almost always off the road. He's in the grass, whereas the pickup truck may not have that same sort of flexibility if there's a soft shoulder. Considering the fact it takes how long for us to read meters right now?
Well, with the radio readers down, it's taken probably about 2 weeks, and so it definitely has cut down the time. But it's more convenient for him. He can almost pull right into the yard. It's got the soft tires on it, so it's not making an impact on the turf. And you can get out, read it, and go. So,
right.
Of course, in inclement weather, he does use a pickup truck after that.
Right.
I want to say y'all got a tag on, don't y'all have a tag on the back, or was that just I came on in I think the thing one day. I can't remember if I saw a tag on it, it was just a sticker on the back.
Just a sticker, just Charles County Water emblem.
Are county vehicles exempt from certain things, just out of curiosity?
And I'm not sure if that's an ordinance thing, but I know it may be. We have a couple of them that use parks and stuff and able to use them downtown. But I think government vehicles are exempt from certain things, but it may have to be an ordinance change to allow it.
And Commissioner Kitchens, you're right. Certain things are exempted from, but I'm not sure about these type of things unless the modifications are made. It sounds like there have been most of the modifications made to this one, except the blinkers, I know.
Right. You guys have blinkers on yours?
Yeah, they're factory installed though.
Okay.
They're more of a UTV instead of an ATV.
Gotcha.
They're more of a electric vehicle.
Okay.
Attorney Shaw, is this something we need a motion on, or just direct Jason to get with Jeffrey, our department head, to make sure that we're in compliance?
I think Jason could work with Jeffrey on that, and again, just make sure the sheriff or somebody from his department sees exactly how we wind up with the configurations on it, and make sure it complies, and and just maybe just using like y'all do, judgment about where you use it, which I'm sure you do, might help with the safety concerns that Commissioner Robinson was concerned about, but also if it helps the efficiency of it, I'm sure that's something that, the board, I imagine, would be in favor of too.
Mm-hmm. And I would say from a policy perspective, for vehicles that have to hit the road, which encounter citizens on a regular basis in those particular environments, that's how we write it. Obviously, Parks and Rec, you're inside the park, so that's not a concern, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jeff, did you say it does have an orange flashing light on top of it?
Not an orange flashing light.
But some kind of flashing.
Yeah, and in the back of it, it's like a canopy, and the two supporting beams that come down, LED lights that just kind of blink.
Can you see it? Can you see it if you come in the opposite way too, or just from the rear?
Just from the rear.
Well, I would suggest you get something on top that traffic coming from the opposite direction can also see.
Okay.
This is why in the headlights can also do the same thing, have them blinking with your LEDs.
Mr. Charles, did you say it is legal on state highway?
It can be if it's modified.
Okay.
Can be.
And where I saw it, where it really concerned me was a state highway. And and the time I saw it, it was right beside the pavement. And that thing is no match for a car, a pickup, or a gravel truck. So that's my concern.
Commissioner Robinson, anything else?
No, sir.
Any other questions? All right. We'll move on then. Thank you very much, Commissioner Robinson, on that. Old business. Oh, we don't have no old business.
How about that? Wow.
Call up on over here.
We might make it. We're going to stall. No. I'm sure you don't want to make this an hour and a half?
Move to adjourn.
No, we can't do that. No. Not yet. Hold on. Department head. Any department head like to speak?
Yes, sir.
Put the ground?
Yes, sir. Chairman, I appreciate it. Board. Volunteer appreciation dinner will be August the 12th at Bradley Baptist Church at 5 p.m. A week from this Saturday, if you guys will come. I've actually got 22 awards to be given away, plaques. This year I've got a 40-year recipient. I've got a 35-year recipient, several 25 years recipients, and right on down. So it's a all-you-can-eat seafood from Gay Foods from Oak Creek. Commissioner knows that very well.
Very well.
And
hey, Mr. Robinson was there that evening too, if I'm not mistaken. So.
I don't want to miss this.
If you don't like
no, sir.
seafood,
they was only here.
There'll be ribeyes too.
So we like both. We like to stay, curve and serve.
What time was that now?
5 p.m.
And it was at.
It'll be in the sanctuary at Bradley Baptist Church.
Okay.
I'm going to be out of town. Can you give me a plate?
Y'all come.
We'll do it. Thank you. Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeffrey, have you got anything?
You got to miss it.
Say thank you to the board for allowing me this opportunity to serve, and the team is looking forward to it, and I'm excited and a little nervous all at the same time, but I appreciate all the support from the board and the financial department and just my team at the board department. So just thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parks and Rec, got anything?
Just a smile.
Just a smile.
Just a smile. Should we give Animal Shelter an opportunity to speak? I know he's wanting to show pictures, and no picture. You don't show no pictures of your progress on your building, or?
Let's say you see this little bit screen on this phone.
Okay.
Doing good though. They got walls up. We're starting on the interior walls here shortly. They're walking right along.
All right. We had any other department head, Mr. Risner?
I was just going to mention real quick, Levita and I are working to develop a per diem policy based on the guidance from the last meeting. We're going to try to develop a tool that allows to deduct for when meals are provided by the conference and that type of thing, and we'll roll that out shortly. I was also going to mention to y'all that we did not receive the NRPA grant for the special needs playground that we applied for, but we did receive word in the last couple of days that we got $55,000 in GDOT off-system safety money for guardrails and rumble strips. So some good and some bad there, but.
Deal. Oh, we're supposed to. I think there was a question asked about: do we need to a motion to allow you to start advertising on the millage, or is that just something automatic from our? What's your thoughts on that? I meant to ask you before we started, but
I think based on there was a motion at the last meeting, I think, related to setting a tentative millage rate of the same as what we had in prior years. I think that's probably sufficient.
Sure.
Margie, you think?
I believe so. I just want to make sure that we're not missing anything.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
More department heads. We've got a young lady sitting in, Marguerite Bryant. Would you like to come forward? How you doing this afternoon?
Doing fine. How are you all?
Just fine. Good. Thank you for coming.
Good to be here. My concern is the road we live on. I live at 289 Shady Road Plaza, which has been forgotten. It was one of the original roads in the neighborhood. It has not been worked. I can't remember how long, because the gentleman that lived at the front of the road has taken part of it in his yard, so your machines won't get down there. I've been to Public Works. I've talked to them. I've taken any documentation he asked me for, and it's getting bad. We have trees that need cutting. The road is going to be impossible. I called Mr. Martin. He didn't know we existed. Some of the police don't know we exist, and it needs to be addressed. because we pay taxes too.
Yes, ma'am. Is Shady Road right before,
If you're going down Bethune, it's like that last street before Bibb County. And we normally see it on the left-hand side, but they're on the right-hand side.
We're the original road before, we were before Bethune.
okay,
And on the right, if you make a right where the house is for sale, just before you get into Bibb County, the road is very narrow. I almost went down it with a trailer, but I knew I couldn't do it. I went down, and part of the road is eroded away. Then when you get to the bottom, there's a cemetery down there, Camp Hope Cemetery.
Yeah, it's been dedicated as a Confederate cemetery, and I've asked several times, could we use maybe some of the prisoners to help clean it up, and we'll furnish the food, but we're just not getting anything.
And I drove 15 feet into the cemetery, and I couldn't go any
It's
further.
impassable.
Yeah. And getting in there with an SUV is almost impossible. With all that being said, didn't know the road was down there because just literally passed by it. I thought it was a private driveway this entire time. When Ms. Bryan invited me down there, I got a chance to look and see, there was some good level of neglect. Some of the dirt that had probably been down there some time ago, which John was here, has pretty much gone away, and they just need some attention. Where the house is on the corner of Shady Road and Bethune, the owner put some steel rods or pieces in the ground.
He consistently took part of the road, and I kept calling Public Works, and I made several phone calls. Nobody ever addressed it. But if you'll look at the old paper, he has .64 acres. He can tell you his yard is much bigger than that, where he's taking it from the road. But that house right now is in foreclosure, and I figured this would be a good time to do something about it.
right.
I sent it to Jason, and I'm not sure. He sent me some of the plats, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit further for me.
And I'm happy to get with you later and talk more about this. Some information that the Public Works Department had showed there was an old plat from that area, and it shows an easement. Excuse me, an easement going back across several lots there, and it says dirt road on the easement. We also found, and so the easement reads like it's just a private easement. We found, and like I said, I'm happy to talk with you afterwards and see if we can figure it out. We did find a letter from the county administrator back in 2002, I think it was, that said the county claims this road. But in talking with Frank, it would take a lot more than that for us to actually assert a claim for that road.
Previously been worked, and like I say, it was the original road. There actually was a school on that road. That road used to go all the way down to the church. That is the original road.
Do you have any up-to-date plats or anything that might show something different on that?
I'm not sure. I have my plats. My sister has her plats. I'm not sure of what you're looking for, but I gladly let you see them.
Okay, we can take a look at those sometime.
Okay.
Do you know, excuse me, Jason, but
Yeah.
Jason and I have talked about this, and do you know about what year that road would have been open, when that easement would have been given to the other property owners who, the easement gave them the right to go down and use that road, which indicated it was still a private road because the owner gave the easement to other.
I have no idea. I'm 61 years old this year. My dad lived there before me, and the Stewart property, all that was the original Stewart property, and it's been subdivided since.
You think maybe in the 60s?
No, it had to be more than that because I was born in 56.
Mm-hmm.
So that road's been there, and that cemetery is a Confederate cemetery, so it's been there. I can't even tell you how long, because like I say, there used to be a school on that road. But it was the old Camp Hope School, and it's been long gone.
I think Jason also talked to our Public Works Director, who didn't have any knowledge or recollection of it ever being worked by the county. Isn't that what he told you, Jason?
Right.
Yeah, he's never worked it. The gentleman before, and I can't think of her name, that retired some years back, they've worked that road. They've brought in rock, they've brought in dirt. They've worked that road before.
we'd be glad to continue looking at it and see what we come up with.
Does the cemetery have a deed for it? Do we know? Is it in our deed books and records?
Not that I've seen, but, and of course, the fact that, excuse me. Go ahead.
It was, that was one of the problems with the cemetery. When it was deemed to be Confederate, it was deemed to be Confederate because of the age of the graves and the people there. They could not find the paperwork because all those people have also died. So they actually had to put the plaque on the church, the old Camp Hope Church. And that church probably can tell you about some of the years because the church, the cemetery, and the school was dedicated by the same gentleman, and that road ran down to all three. So I'm not sure that road's probably been there since the 30s or 40s.
Right. Our administrator would be more than happy to get with you and see if we can't come to a conclusion on it, help you in anything, any records you can furnish him would be of great help.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Just a little bit. I put it on Facebook just to kind of get some feedback from it. Of course, Larry Childs chimed in, and Tom Payne. Friendsofcemeteries.org of Jones County had some information on it. And hopefully I'll share what I found with Jason, and maybe that'll give some.
Is that Earl Coffey?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So Martin, you want to go ahead and start off our commissioner's comment?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'm excited that the budget process is coming to a close. I'm happy that we got to dig in. Next year, we're going to dig in a little bit further. The idea that we kind of talked about, finding ways to save money to actually provide some opportunities for salary enhancement for employees. I think that's awesome. That gives employees and department heads an opportunity to say, hey, look, let's save some money and this will help us fund the prospective raise, should we agree. I thought that was one of the greatest tools out of it. I know we've had some challenges and we're looking for some dollars. I'm going to encourage citizens look at it too, budgets. Department heads look at it real closely, not just yours, but the other pieces, because we're all citizens here. And I'm excited about it. Excited about Jeffrey, appreciate you coming over. Welcome to the team. You've been a part of the team, but this is just another level of it. Expecting big things. One of the first things I told him when he came in, the administrator, was look at the water department budget. There's huge opportunities. I know you know where there's some opportunities for savings, and I'm already hearing good ideas coming out. So if you see us coming to visit, we're excited about being involved in part of that process. To the Parks and Rec, Mike, appreciate what you guys are doing. 49 Park is open. Or the gym, Mighty Wells, the old Wells gym. Boys have been coming up there and playing ball from 4 to 9, been having a good time. I encourage you guys to come out and grab a ball and challenge them if you can. And it's been pretty good. Have some challenges for different age groups that are coming up. Hopefully we can look at some expansion and at least get maybe a concrete pad out there. There's not a 16-year-old here that it's open, and right now we've kind of focused it in that younger age group, more so by design than anything else. So thank you guys for awarding some dollars for it, and hopefully we'll keep it up and expand it this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Nick Cameron with his business. Like most small businesses, he started out with nothing. And he's a hard worker, and he employs a few people, and he keeps the ball moving along. And I'm glad that he is able to move to the Highway 49 area. And the place that he is moving has not been used in quite a few years, and this will be a big improvement for the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Pitt?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask Jason and Ms. Margie if they'll put together some promotion flyers or something about the new employee incentive program. I noticed as you walk into the Board of Commissioners office, you can see a flyer about the health and safety incentive. So I want to make sure that the employees are aware that there is an incentive plan for those guys to come up with some bright ideas. And if we can include it in their pay stub or their paycheck next week, I think that'll be helpful too, because the more and more you get the word out, the more people hear about it, and hopefully they'll start thinking of ways to save money and also be rewarded for their ideas. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioner Kitchen?
I also agree, it's a good idea with the employee incentive program. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of ideas we come out of that. Should be a good think tank coming out. I'll mention again, we need to start looking at, now that we've over a little bit of hurdle with budget, still there, but almost over it. We can start looking at some of the stuff we talked about in our retreat, some of the ideas for take-home vehicles, purchasing policies, bundling our purchasing, so we can see some more savings there. I think we sent out a flyer here that we've got an opportunity for some grant funding for a GCAP program that they're extending. ACCG is extending it to 2 counties. Hopefully we'll be able to apply for this. It's some funding. It's Georgia Civic Awareness Program for students, and it basically allows partnerships between the local governments, the schools, and the students to actually learn not just about government, but what we actually do in government, in the hopes that it creates better public servants as they grow into their adulthood, finding interest at the local level, the state level, and the federal level. Not just interest in the politics and the running of governments, but how it works and how they can be a part of it, whether it's in here or outside. So y'all got a flyer on it, and hopefully we can get Jason to put this application in. It's got a quick deadline like most of them, August 4th. So it's just around the corner. We're in the words of Jason, we're closer than we've ever been to that date. So,
and he said he's never bored.
Never bored.
I tell you what, Commissioner, if you don't mind, I think we ought to give one to Ms. Rackley since she's here, so she can go ahead and take it back to the Board of Education so they're aware of it, because it's going to take those kids to participate in order to make the program work.
I agree. Is that all? Ms. Kitchen, is that it?
That's it for me.
All right, thank you very much. This time we got citizens' comments. 1 minute. Anybody likes? We got plenty of time, so if y'all like to come up and take a few minutes, you're more than welcome. We're not gonna have a timer on you if y'all like to come forward. A little timer, not a big one. Well, no citizen comments. As customary, Mr. Pitts.
Mr. Chairman, make the motion. We adjourn.
Have a motion, second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, should have this one.
I missed. I said 7:10.